Well, it is Sunday the 23rd of October, and I did a Sunday message yesterday, but the wind was too loud, and then I tried to do it again, but the flow wasn't there, so we'll see what I can do, because it is Sunday, and I have made a commitment to myself, and hopefully to you guys as well, to gather my thoughts once a week and to kind of bring things up to date. And we're having kind of what used to be called Indian summer, which I think is now politically correct to call it Indigenous summer. And so I'm going to just take a quick walk here. Hopefully the wind will stay quiet. And there's a story that I've used before, and I will use it again because it's a profound teaching story. There are two guys out cutting wood, a young guy and an old guy. The old timer, rested. He would cut wood for a little while with his axe. And he would sit down, and the young guy was like, I'll show him. And he just hacked away and hacked away and hacked away. At the end of the day, the old guy had a pile of wood that was much larger than the young guy. And the young guy was like, what gives, old timer? And the old guy said, well, every time I sat down to rest, I sharpened my axe. And I often have a voice in my head when I'm tired that says, oh, you should keep going. You should keep working. And ultimately, that never works for me. It never works for me because there's something in me that rebels, that just like, no, I need a rest. I've always been that way. And I can motivate myself and get amazing amounts of things done. But there's always a point of no returns. There's a point where if you just keep pushing, you start making mistakes, you start getting irritated, you start getting frustrated, you start just not being as effective. And so for me, that's why we need a Sabbath. And I've talked about this before, that we need rest. That we can't just grind and grind and grind and grind. And so one of my practices is in the morning while I'm having my coffee, I give myself sometimes an hour to just chill the heck out. I was going to say something else. Chill the gosh darn out. And in the evening, like there's a certain point, like after dinner, I don't usually get very much accomplished. I'm working on a new song, and the other night I was able to practice the piano part, and I did like 9 takes, and I recorded them, but it wasn't, I kept making a little mistake here, a little mistake there, and it wasn't good, and I was like, okay, stop. And then yesterday morning, I just nailed it in 2 passes, boom. So part of what's going on is I have a dear friend who is just beyond stressed out, and he's really pushing. He's trying to build his business, and he might have bit off more than he could chew. And I feel his pain, and I wish I could help him. But he comes from a culture where you don't complain. He comes from a culture where you work, and you work. He often puts in a day that would make me dead. He puts in a day that would make most of us just crumple up in a little heap. He's tough, he's strong, he's driven. And I kind of see him and I go, he needs a break. He needs to stop. He needs to rest. But quite often, people don't listen to us, do they? So if you are someone who is just grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding, There's another story or another example, and that is you can hold a glass of water. Anybody can. Yeah, just lift it up, glass of water. But if you don't put the glass of water down, it begins to hurt, right? And so holding a glass of water is stress. Not putting the glass of water down is unrelenting stress, and that's what kills us. Our bodies are designed to stress, to push, to explode with energy and force and movement, and then rest. And if you look at the animals, you don't see cows, stressing. You don't see the sheep stressing unless there's a reason, right? So we can learn a lot from animals about how to not overdo it. But sometimes our human mind, kind of overpowers our bodies until the unconscious mind says, okay, you're not going to stop? I'll give you cancer, right? Or you're not going to stop? I'll make you do something really dumb that puts you in the hospital, right? I was working with Josh the other day. We were trimming up some apple trees on the leased land and some brush and some thorn trees. And about 3 o'clock, we'd worked for several hours. I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done. I'm getting tired. I said, Josh, I think we're going to stop. And he holds up his work glove, and there was a little tear in the work glove. He had almost cut his finger with the chainsaw. And I was like, we're definitely stopping. We are not machines, and we need to rest. And we need to somehow love the people who are pushing themselves into an early grave enough to say, hey, is it worth it? Is what you're going for worth it? There are times when we have to push, when we have to dig down deep. There are times like right now, like it's, 7 in the morning. Wouldn't it be nice to just curl up on a Sunday morning and not have to do the Sunday message, right? So I am doing something that takes effort, but it also feels natural. It feels like it's what I was born to do, and it doesn't hurt, right? And I will do my Sunday message. I'll get it done, and then I'll take the rest of the day off. Like I have to build rest in, because ideas and creativity don't come from an exhausted state. So I want to send prayers out to the people we love who are working themselves to death. To have compassion for them, but also to say to them, hey, is it worth it? What you're doing, is it worth losing everything to get this financial reward? What does it profit a person to have all the riches in the world and to lose their soul, to lose the people that they love who are just bearing the brunt of their stress? So if you're stressed out, I hope you'll take a break. I hope you will. I hope you will see the ways that you are creating it, because we create our own stress. I create my stress, that's for sure. And maybe you think the world is doing it to you, but ultimately, we're the ones inside these spaceships we call our bodies. And sometimes we have to take a break. There was a crew harvesting this corn all week, and they were running up and down the road with these huge 18-wheeler open trucks and machinery, and there was a whole team of people, and there's a whole whole pile of corn right here. I'm gonna switch the camera. I love this time of day. But there's a lot of corn still in here, so the geese will be gathering to clean up some of this stuff. But winter is coming. Winter is coming. So take a minute. Just take a minute and breathe. Take a minute. Whatever you've been doing all week, take a minute. Give yourself a little break. Sometimes just like I'm holding the camera with my right hand. It's stressful. I should have gotten my selfie stick. I always seem to forget my selfie stick, so I have to change hands. Shake it out. One of the best things you can do is just stretch and breathe in the morning. While I'm waiting for the water to boil, I stretch. And I don't do it as a virtue signaling thing. I do it because I had a problem last year where I could hardly walk because I wasn't stretching. I was getting tight. What I'm doing is big, and it could dominate and swallow me whole if I allowed it to. Part of the process of starting a farm is so that I have a way to support myself while I am recording my music. But the farm could totally take over. And I could, be so busy on the farm that I don't have time to do the music. And that would be stressful. And I can't allow that. But the music can't be done if I'm tired, right? So I have to manage my energy. I have to manage my emotions. And I can be, as an autistic person, things knock me down. Like I feel things so intensely, like someone else might feel it on a scale of 1 to 10, they might feel a 4. For me, it's a 9. And so most of my life, I have been studying how to run my own mind, how to manage my emotions, how to stop being afraid of conflict, how to be able to speak up and say, hey, this is bothering me without making the other person wrong, right? We have internal stress and external stress. And it's a big deal. How you manage it, how you handle it is essentially how you're going to live your life. Do you want to be torn up inside all the time? Do you want to be exhausted? Do you want to be irritable? Do you want to be hard on your family? Who bears the brunt of your stress? And ultimately, you are responsible for loving yourself and for taking care of your spirit, of your heart, of your soul. And sometimes we have to say no. Sometimes we have to go, yeah, I could do that. Like I could add broilers and turkeys, and I could really ramp up the egg production or duck production. But first of all, I don't like the sound of turkeys. They're loud. And chickens and roosters, right? So that would stress me out. So I don't do that. So that's part of the process of following the path, following the call of spirit. Is it in alignment or is it not? Is it a distraction or does it support the vision, the call, the quest? And those are questions we have to answer every day. And sometimes the answer is yes, sometimes the answer is no, sometimes the answer is not now. So, I'm not stressing about the fact that I did 2 other Sunday messages and they didn't quite work. because the fact they didn't work meant that I decided to take a walk and do it again. So today, take a little time, okay? Take a little time for you. Might only be 5 minutes. Take a little time for you. Take a little time to look around at the world. We are not here forever. We die. And we die pretty easily. Life is fragile. Look at the people in your life who you love and spend a little time with them. Look them in the eyes and tell them you love them. Okay? Do that for you today. Take a breath and breathe. All right? Sending out prayers, surrounding you with light, beaming light at you and the people you love, exponentially stirring it up in the best possible way, in the most loving possible way, in the most healing way. Do we really need all the money in the world? Or do we just need enough to do what we came here to do? And sometimes it's stressful, but remember, stress needs to be released, needs to be let go, needs a little time in your day. Winter's coming, folks. Enjoy this moment, the pleasure of the geese coming to clean up the corn. The starlings are gathering in a mass. They're gonna migrate soon and do those clouds of starlings that are cool to watch. Sending out prayers, sending out love to you. Peace, love, grooviness. Amen. All right, well, I want to share with you a song that I'm still working on, and it kind of came out of a sad and lonely place, but it also helped me to kind of transform the sadness into a more joyful thing. It's totally not done. It's not a final mix. The lyrics may shift and change, but I wanted to share it with you because for me, that has been my dream, is as I've been recording songs that I've written, 20, 30, even 40 years ago, I've been putting a lot of my energy into recording the old ones. I haven't been writing a whole lot of new songs because the creative tank, there's only so much in there, right? And if you're using it, that's great. But you may not be using the creativity energy for the same thing you used to or whatever. But it felt great to write a new song. And we had a rainy day on Monday, so I was able to just take some time and to record it. Then I re-recorded the vocals with different lyrics like the second day on Tuesday. And I was able to do the piano yesterday, I think, and I've also just released, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, so check that out. That's on my Mark Shepard Songs YouTube channel, and also you can find it at markshepherdsongs.com. And so, without further ado, here's the song. I'm calling it River of Time. And as time seems to be speeding up as I get older, that's kind of what it's about, but it's also about the fact we're all yearning for something. We're all looking for love, or we're looking for success, or we're looking for external validation, and ultimately we're travelers on the river of time. And I hope you enjoy the journey. And sometimes taking a rest, taking a break on a Sunday morning or Sunday afternoon, or whenever you can do it, is one of the best ways to enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride, appreciate these moments because they're gifts. Because we're going to be dead for a long, long time, people. Take time today to be alive. That's my message, I guess. Set the stress down for a minute, 5 minutes, an hour, whatever. And enjoy the song. I'll talk to you on the other side. Boom. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Standing in line at the edge of the river of time, staring out at you through the bars of the cage of my mind, longing for love, but always walking alone. Take me to the river and wash me back to my home. Watching as the world tweets itself into madness, dreaming of freedom and waking up to fascists. Longing for you, but ending up with me. Take me to the river and wash me back to the sea. Heavy is the load, unseen behind the eyes, racing for the cold beneath November skies. Take me down. Take me down. Take me down to the river of time. Walking the fields in the gathering of twilight, losing my way in the dimming of my sight. Do our thoughts and prayers determine who we become? Take me to the river and wash me back to the sun. Heavy is the load, unseen behind the eyes, racing for the cold beneath November skies. Take me down. Take me down. Take me down to the river of time. looking for love, always the butt of laughter. I may be a fool, but I realize it doesn't matter. How did we lose each other and not even notice? Take me to the river and wash me back to the coast. Heavy is the load, unseen behind the eyes, racing for the cold beneath November skies. Take me down, take me down, take me down to the river of time. Heavy is the load, unseen behind the eyes, racing for the cold beneath November skies. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Row, row, row your boat, life is but a dream. Take me down, take me down, take me down, take me down, take me down to the river of time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will meet you down here by the river of time. Take a breath. Remember to breathe. Have a wonderful week. Amen.